All right, welcome in everyone to the Big Blue for You podcast. Coach Cal is back. If you saw the previous episode, I gave my thoughts and opinions on Coach Cal coming back. Look, it doesn't matter. He's back. That's the reality. Okay, so we can either live in this world where I talk about how I'm not happy that he's back, or I can talk about how I hope that this season, this upcoming one, I'm sick and tired about talking about next year, but I mean, I guess that's what we're going to have to talk about. We're going to have to talk about the necessary staff changes and the necessary, for lack of, not just staff changes, but who's staying, who's leaving, how is this all going to go down? What do we need to do? And I guess let's just get right into the meat and potatoes of this. So, Mitch Barnhart officially announced yesterday that John Calipari is going to be back for yet another basketball. I think it's pretty self-explanatory how that conversation went, more or less. This is basically a do or die season for John Calipari coming up. It kind of is what it is. Basketball has also always operated on its own island. It hasn't been really a part of the athletic department, and the athletic department hasn't really made a whole lot of decisions or had, a hand in really dealing with anything. So I think now you're going to see more of Mitch Barnhart and his input. Mitch Barnhart has a voice at the table. John Calipari is not going to be able to operate Kentucky men's basketball on his own island anymore. I think those are changes that were necessary and changes that have happened at this point. So, that's something that's going to continue to happen, and it'll be something that we talk about going in through next season. I think it's something to look out for, though. But really, at this point, I kind of just want to talk about the players staying, the players leaving, and staff changes, right? With Cal being back, he needs to convince as many people as humanly possible that can come back here to get the hell back to Lexington and try to run it back. That's what they need. That's what he needs to do. He needs to completely change his tune on this. He was always the guy that wanted to push people out the door because of, if you don't know, the DeJuan Wagner situation when he was at coaching at Memphis. DeJuan Wagner, great player, wanted to come back for a second year, and Coach Cal said, "No, man, you're a lottery pick. You got to get out of here." He gets out of here, gets out of Memphis, and then he has a very bad health situation. He had colitis, if I'm not mistaken. And if he hadn't gone to the NBA and gotten his first contract, he'd have never made a penny playing basketball. So I understand why Cal feels like he's felt for all these years, but that's gone. That's gone, at least for this season, that's gone. You need to convince these guys to come back. And I think as far as I'll give you my opinion on who I think is coming back, who's leaving, I say we just go through the list. We'll go with the starters. I can't believe these guys were starting the whole season. That's another conversation for another day. DJ Wagner, I'm going to say that he sticks around. I think Cal gets him to stay. Sticks around. I think Cal gets him to stay. I think that's really kind of a big building block for next year, would be convincing him to stay. But, we'll see. I'll take DJ Wagner as the one who's staying. Obviously, Antonio Reeves is gone. Justin Edwards is gone. Trey Mitchell's gone. Ugo, I think Ugo will be back. I think he'll be back. Now we're getting into Reed and Rob. Rob is definitely gone. I'm really split on Reed Shepherd. Okay, this guy, he should leave. He should absolutely leave. He's going to be a top 10 pick. He should not come back. But I do think there's a chance that he comes back. I'm going to say there's a 20% chance he comes back, but I'm going to say that he's leaving. All right, so I've got one of our top 7 back. Now you're going to get into Adu Thiero. I think Adu will be back. I've always felt like Adu and Ugo would be back this whole year. Those are the two guys I basically banked on coming back. Now we're getting down to like Big Z. I don't expect him to be back. Bradshaw, I don't expect him to be back. I think he'll probably end up transferring, to be honest with you. I think that's where he's looking at, is he's going to be a transfer guy, which, considering he's got less muscle mass than I do, that doesn't bother me any. I'm fine with that. And now we're talking about what we've gone through. DJ, Antonio's gone, Justin Edwards, Mitchell's gone, Ugo, Reed, Rob, Adu, Big Z. So now we're talking about like Jordan Burks. Transfer, I don't expect him to be back. Joey Hart, transfer, and that's the whole roster. So just to recap, who I went through and said is going to be gone and who is going to stay. DJ, I think will stay. Antonio's obviously gone. Justin Edwards is gone. Trey Mitchell's gone. Ugo, I think, will be back. I've got 3 guys coming back. I got Ugo, Adu, and then my 3rd guy coming back is DJ Wagner. With the incoming recruiting class and a couple transfers, you will have a pretty solid roster. Talent, once again, will not be the issue in Lexington. It hasn't been an issue ever. The problem in Lexington has always been Cal's really inability to actually coach. But I'm not here to rip on Cal's coaching. I'm here to talk about changes that we can make to make this program great again. Make Kentucky basketball great again. I want John Calipari to be the Donald Trump of Kentucky basketball. We need to make Kentucky great again. Let me see. Now I guess we're going to move right on into staff changes. All right, let's go through. Obviously, Cal is here, so that's not a staff change. Orlando Antigua, back. John Welsh, back. Chuck Martin, I think, will be back as well. It was his first year. I don't think they're going to kick him to the curb after 1 year. Although I couldn't tell you if he walked into this room, Chuck Martin did, I couldn't tell you I know who he is. I couldn't recognize him. So take that for what it's worth. Let's see. That leaves us basically with Chin Coleman, who is a horrible coach. Oh, he sucks. He was supposed to be the defensive mastermind this year. Yeah, mastermind the worst defense in the Cal era. You bum, go elsewhere. He's gone. Gone, gone. Mr. Bruiser, I sit on the bench and chew gum. Flint, I don't do anything. He's gone. I think that is actually the entire staff. I think that's literally the entire staff. Look, there are going to be really big changes for the Kentucky basketball program now. With it no longer operating on an island. I don't think this is going to work at all. I think we're just throwing away another season, to be honest with you, and another year, because my standard for a Kentucky basketball coach is, can you win a national title? And when the answer is no, that you can't win a national title, you shouldn't be the coach here. But look, I don't make those decisions. It is what it is. Next year his buyout goes from 33 down to 27 million. So if it doesn't work out, you just fire him next year. And you know what? We all sit here and say, you should have done it a year before. Realistically, with Kentucky, though, they need a few things. If Cal's really going to try to get the fan base to be excited, I put that in quotes because there's going to be people like me that ain't excited no matter what. I mean, I'll sit here and I'll talk about it on this podcast, on this forum. I'll watch every game because I'm a fan, and I will always root for Kentucky to win. I hope we go 40-0, and John Calipari gets up there and says, to hell with all you sons of bitches, and gives us a middle finger and walks off the stage and retires. That would be awesome. That would be epic if he could do that. You know, I still love Cal as a human being, but I've said what I've said about him for years. I don't think he's a great coach. But you know what? What are you going to do? It is what it is, right? So we just got to hope that things go really well next year. I think a big thing that could really make a difference for Coach Cal is winning the Champions Classic. Because the years that we've won the Champions Classic, we've been pretty good. The years that we lost the Champions Classic, we've not been very good. So when people say, oh, November doesn't matter, March is all that matters, March is all that matters, March is all that matters, that's the only thing that matters, blah, 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 blah. They're full of shit. Games in November matter the exact same as games in March do. Okay? Every single game matters. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. So, what else can Cal do? Well, I talked about how there's a couple openings for the staff. Bring Kenny Payne back. Bring him back. I know everybody loves to rip on Kenny Payne because he was an awful head coach, but he is a great assistant. The players love him. The staff loved him. Cal loves him. That's all that matters. He was the guy who was the go-between always between the players and Calipari. You're having a problem, you talk to Kenny. You need to work on your game, talk to Kenny. Doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Kenny Payne will pick his phone up and go unlock the doors for the practice. Doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Kenny Payne will pick his phone up and go unlock the doors for the practice gym so you can get some shots in. It didn't matter. So that's one. And then obviously you'll have to hire another assistant. I would love to see another NBA guy, another NBA assistant to come in and be the defensive specialist. By the way, I think the best thing that can realistically do is just recruit and just hand everything else off. Delegate the rest of it. Somebody else coaching during the games. Look, you guys know I would love for him to bring back John Robick. It ain't going to happen. John Robick would make a huge difference for this program. Because since he's been gone, the game planning it's sucked. Let's just be honest. The game planning, game in and game out, had sucked without John Robick. I think we need John Robick. I cleaned up 2 staff spots. What Cal needs to do is he needs to look at what he was doing early and do the same thing. Do it again. And by the way, you know why he was successful earlier on is because he had talented freshmen and a couple of really experienced players that were physical. That's what he had. He hasn't had that in years. Some people say, well, this year he had it. Not really. Not the way that you think he did. I mean, Trey Mitchell was banged up half the year. Antonio Reeves was great, but who else? We had no physical presence. None. Zero, zilch, not a lick of physicality on this team. They were soft. They were weak. They were lazy, especially on the defensive end, just always in the wrong spot defensively. So whoever Cal goes out and hires and fires off of his staff, the replacement should be Kenny Payne, John Robick, and or a defensive specialist from the NBA level, the same way that you got John Welsh to be the offensive specialist from the NBA level. That's kind of my take on it. I really don't have much more to say other than if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. Unless you disagree with me, then you know what to do. You smash the dislike button. You tell me I'm an idiot in the comments. Unsubscribe. I'm all for criticism, so tell me what I can do to make this podcast better. I'm still working on the setup. I'm probably going to move this desk and this setup probably to the other side of the room because I have a bunch of really cool stuff up here on the wall that'll make a great backdrop. I just haven't done it yet. Something I will probably do over the next day or two, and then I'll hop back on here, and we'll talk about something. If there's no Kentucky news, to hell with it, it'll be baseball season. I can talk about baseball. But for that, I am Luke Emberton. I'm going to be signing off of here now of the Big Blue for You podcast. Coach Cal is back. He's back for his 16th season. And like I said, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment down below. Thank you all very much for watching.